I believe the veil is thin, that our Angelcestors are always nearby. I'm your host, Bernice L. McFadden, and this is Angelcestor, the sacred space where memory meets the mystical and storytelling becomes ceremony and celebration. Each episode is an offering, words spoken for those who no longer speak but are never silent. This is love work. This is ancestor veneration. This is Angelcestor, the podcast.
Angelcestor, the podcast, is a protected work. All stories, recordings, and materials shared here are the sole copyright of Bernice L. McFadden. Please don't reproduce or reuse anything you hear without written permission. Thank you for respecting the sacred nature of these stories. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Angelcestor podcast. I'm Monique at Monique_the Muse on IG and the creator of the Moso Nation, and also podcast host of Turn Up the Volume. For this final episode in our 3-part educational series, I've had the honor of sitting in sacred conversation with the one and only Bernice. Over the last 2 episodes, we've traced the spiritual lineage of Angelcestor, how it came to be, how it shows up in story, and how it continues to guide Bernice's work. But today, we're taking it one step further. What does it mean to live with our Angelcestors? What if you don't know who your Angelcestors are, but still feel something whispering to you? And how do we share those sacred moments so others can begin to recognize their own? So let's get into it. Hello, Bernice. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing, Monique?
I'm doing great. Well, we are at the end of this first 3-part educational series. Of course, there may be more, so we're not saying that this is the end, all be all, but I just wanted to just jump right in. So we've done a lot with the last 2 episodes. We've gotten people to a place where they understand Angelcestor a little bit more. But in this episode, I wanted to ask a question just to kick it off, because we thought about this a little bit. What would you say to someone who says, "I don't know who my ancestors are," and like they feel disconnected from that history? What would you say to someone who says that?
I would say that they know who you are, and that's important. They know who you are. I know that we have people who did not grow up with their family. So adoptees, people who were separated from their parents or family members through some crises, all sorts of reasons. But your Angelcestors know who you are. You can make up a name for the grandmother you never met, the great uncle you never met. Make up a name, Uncle Sam, Nana, Grand, and call on those people, those entities when you need them. For other people who may have grown up with family members but are still stuck, maybe your family members are secretive. I have a lot of those people in my family. They don't like to talk about the goings-ons in the family or people who have passed on. So I would say try to talk to them anyway, even if you get one name or 2 names. You can then take those stories, those clues, and go online to resources like family search.org or ancestry.com. I spent a lot of time on those sites, and I discovered a lot of ancestors that I was unaware of before that. Also, DNA tests. DNA tests are bringing a whole lot of people together.
Yeah.
So I would suggest, trying one, two, or all of those things just to get the ball started.
Yes, yes, just to get the ball going. Okay, so that brings me to the work you've been doing for years. You've lived um, these connections through your writing, and now you're inviting others to share their own experiences. So now, while you're asking people to live through their own stories, what do you hope people will submit when they share their Angelcestor encounters with us? Because we are asking them to do so, so that we can have these conversations. So what do you hope people will submit now that if they don't think they've had an Angelcestor or they feel disconnected, now that you've shared a little bit with them, help us understand what they could do as they share their stories.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that people will submit stories that kind of like speak to these unexplainable moments in their lives. Like maybe someone intervened on their behalf,
Mm,
right? They felt like some entity intervened on their behalf. Those stories might look like being rescued,
mhm,
right? Or timely assistance,
mhm,
or perhaps maybe an encounter with a helpful stranger who miraculously appeared and then disappeared.
mhm,
Um, an angel story could also be about a premonition or a calming presence or fragrance. Like that happens to me all the time. I would, it doesn't happen as often, but as a little girl, especially when I felt afraid or, filled with anxiety, the room would fill with this beautiful perfume, and immediately I felt calm. And
mm,
I always felt like that was one of my great grandmothers. And I'm always looking for that scent at perfume counters because it's so beautiful. So it could be that. Just any experience where you felt like you were being protected or guided. Now, these stories don't have to be polished and they don't have to be perfect. I want them to be authentic because that's what we do here.
yes, yes,
It can be a dream. Maybe you're having a reoccurring dream.
yes,
Um, Maybe you have, a loved one who has passed on that's showing up in your dreams.
yeah,
Um, and they don't have to, the stories don't have to be serious, right? They can be funny. We like those stories too. They could be haunting. They could be tender. They can be confusing. Maybe we could all work it out together once we hear the story. Um, Most of all, though, I hope people will share from a place of reverence,
yeah,
together, right? Because I want this to be a community. This is about community.
yeah,
Together, we can weave a living archive of spirit and family and love.
yes,
I want this to be known as the Angel Cester Project because it's about remembering, but
mm.
it's also about affirming that none of us are moving through this life alone. And that's the most important thing.
No, love that. Absolutely love that. That it makes me think about how people can stay connected to this movement just beyond just listening, right? So,
Yeah.
how can someone join this Angel Sister journey beyond just listening to the podcast? They've got your website they can go to and learn a little bit more from. We are starting other things that people can get connected to, the email, newsletter, which we want people to sign up for. And then, eventually evolving and living in our Substack space. But so what's coming next? Let's talk about what's coming next for the community, because we've talked about so many great things that you want to have exist. Um, and yeah, and what does it look for even for future book uh
Yeah.
club things and kits?
So the podcast is just, the doorway, right? You mentioned that we are working on getting the Substack up and running, and that Substack will offer like writing prompts and reflection tools that will assist people, with forging a connection to their angel ancestors. I'm also thinking about book club kits and what that might look like, because I believe stories are meant to be read in community.
Mm.
That's what I do every week in my classroom here at Tulane University. I want those book club kits to include like discussion questions, writing exercises, and rituals that invite readers to not just consume a book, but to enter into conversation with their own memories and lineages.
Yeah.
Um, further on in the future, I hope to offer workshops and retreats and eventually a hybrid workbook slash journal that
Mm.
I've been working on. Give me a few months. And I see that as a guide, like a paper guide for people to use in storytelling, as a storytelling tool, rather, for healing and connection. I really hope that Angelcestor will keep unfolding in layers. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to remain positive, and I'm just going to listen to my ancestors because they're guiding this whole journey for me.
Yeah, I love that. So one question I have, though, I don't think you mentioned this because you mentioned a lot of great
Mhm.
things that you're going to possibly do. You thought about maybe a spiritual retreat or some kind of where you have like a few people come and you go deep, deep, deep into the angels.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would
Oh
love to
yeah.
see that
Oh
happen.
yes. Absolutely. I mean, that is the ultimate goal. So I'm hoping that maybe a year from now
Yes.
we will be having that conversation,
Yeah.
not just planning it, but saying we're just back from it and it was amazing.
Ooh, yes.
Anything can happen. I'm manifesting. I'm
That's right.
manifesting.
That's right. Anything can happen. Well, this has been great, right? So as we come to a close with this. And when I say close, it doesn't mean the end, right? This is just a series that we've created just to get the ball rolling on the origins of Angelcestor and what it really means. So, um, thank you so much, Bernice, not just for sharing this sacred concept, but for living it, for writing it, and now inviting us all into it. To everyone listening, this may be the end of the three-part series, but it's really just the beginning. The Angelcestor journey is a living one. So if you felt something during these conversations, a tug, a tear, a knowing, honor that, lean into it. And if you feel called, share your story with us. You can find the submission details and more about what's next over at, Bernice's website, bernicelmcfadden.com. You can reach her on all platforms on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Substack to come. So make sure that you are finding us wherever we are. So, and also, make sure to follow Monique at Monique underscore the Moso Muse and Bernice for the latest updates. Until next time, Stay open, stay grounded, and may your angel sisters walk with you. Thank you, Bernice.
Thank you.
Thinking about sharing your Angelcestor story? First, thank you. This process is powerful but can be emotional too. Please check in with yourself and talk to someone you trust before submitting. Now, a few things to know. Your story is anonymous unless you give us permission to use your name. We record most stories, but not all of them are aired. Our duty is to the listener and to the craft of telling their Angelcestor story. This isn't about just being heard, it's about being of service. Think of yourself as an Angelcestor in training. Are you ready to submit? If you are, visit bernicelmcfadden.com/Angelcestor. And above all, take care of your spirit.
Another name remembered, another life honored. Thank you for listening to Angelcestor. If something here stirred you, carry it, share it, speak it, subscribe to it. And if you've got a story to tell about the ones still walking with you, come through by submitting your story. I'm Bernice McFadden. Until next time, stay in the story.